Now at 5 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, DeWitt County deputies arrested a man on multiple charges, including deadly conduct and terroristic threats. Pipeline fire in Houston suburbs in as an investigation is underway. And El Paso City Manager addresses neglected building and hopes for enhanced oversight measures.
We're looking at a little rain activity that's developed late this afternoon. The clouds were really nice today. They're building up, and you can see the heaviest activity is out to the west of our area. But we'll take a look at your weekend, and also we'll take a look at the tropics. All that coming up in a moment.
Plus, the fatal shooting of a judge led to the arrest of Kentucky sheriff. You're watching 25 News now and 5. Good afternoon. Thank you for being with us. I am Amaya Norman filling in for Shauna Curry, who will be here with us at 6. Victoria police arrested a 27-year-old man on inhuman smuggling charges Thursday. Alejandro Dominguez from Mission is in the Victoria County Jail in lieu of $35,000 bond. Warden County authorities arrested 2 people on human smuggling charges this week. 30-year-old Luis Valdez and 20-year-old Angeles Laura are from FAR. They are in the Warden County Jail in lieu of $25,000 bond each. DeWitt County deputies arrested 60-year-old man on 6 charges. Bruce Ziemler of Yocum faces charges of deadly conduct, discharge of a firearm, and making a terroristic threat. He is in the DeWitt County Jail in lieu of a $64,000 bond. The unemployment rate in Victoria for August stays the same as it was in July. The Texas Workforce Commissioner reports the Victoria unemployment rate for August was 4.5%, the same as in July. 1 year ago, the Victoria unemployment rate was 4.3%. The Texas unemployment rate is at 4.4%. A local pet owner is having a breath sigh of relief after her cat was rescued from a tree. Mira Elva says her cat named Dan Gatto got stuck in the tree 3 days ago. She says a dog chased the Gatto up the tree. Elva called multiple agencies, but no one was able to help. One of our users on our Facebook page, Crossroads Today, saw the story and offered to help. The person who came to the rescue happens to own a tree service and knew exactly what to do. Gatto was lowered down and a bit and fell from the tree, but was not hurt. Now let's take a first look at your first warm storm team, Chief Meteorologist Mac Perez. Join us now with a look at what's going on outside. Mac.
Well, thank you very much. For us, we have a few little afternoon showers. It's a Friday night for football, but most of the activity is away from us, so you don't have to worry about it. But this is something that's going to be taken up most of next week. We have to watch it very carefully. Weather Service has already put a 50% chance of this blob becoming a tropical system. And then the question is, once in the Gulf, which way is it going? I'll give you my estimates, and we'll take a look at what the computer's models say as to where that potential tropical system is going to go next week. We'll have more on that coming up in just a few minutes. Back to you.
A pipeline fire that burned in a Houston suburbs for 4 days finally went out Thursday as authorities announced a criminal investigation into the blaze that had roared into a tower flame, forcing neighbors to evacuate and melting parts of nearby cars. Before the fire was extinguished Thursday, officials found human remains in an SUV near Monday explosion. The fire started when the driver crashed through a fence and hit a valve in a Walmart parking lot. Authorities deemed it as an accident with no signs of terrorism. Residents returned to find significant damage, including melted mailboxes and destroyed parks. Nearly 1,000 homes were evacuated and local schools were on lockdown. As the fire diminished, police assessed that the area to remove the SUV where the remains were discovered. The pipeline carries natural gas liquids through the Houston area, raising ongoing safety concerns and frequent explosions. And El Paso City Managed is concerned about buildings like the Gateway Hotel, where neglected maintenance has been overlooked. The city is now working to improve oversight and communications to prevent similar issues.
We immediately checked, as you heard from our building official, are there any other things in the queue that, may be slipping through the cracks?
City Manager Dion Mack is concerned there could be other buildings like the Gateway, while Tony De La Cruz of the Planning and Inspection Department for the city described their history with the hotel.
In these cases, what we're looking at is a lot of property maintenance issues that were neglected by the property owner. Through our enforcement and inspection actions, we were ensuring that they were bringing up those components, but they were deteriorating at a much faster rate than the owner was keeping up with.
Mack says the city needs to find ways to better track developments like that at the Gateway.
I think what we certainly learned through this process is we need to ensure that everybody who might come in contact with the issue or concern throughout the city has a way to funnel that into some central process or place where we can then look at it at a higher level to make sure we're not seeing a trend going on.
De La Cruz says they're committed to better communication between relevant departments, though details on that are not clear. De La Cruz says it's their obligation to continue working with owners if they're making progress on repairs, but for the Gateway Hotel to reopen, Mack says she needs more than that.
I would like to see, and this personally, it is not by code, for everything to be fixed. Before you talk about people coming into the facility, not having a piecemeal approach, which I think, compromises the way that people live in a facility.
7 more days until the State Fair of Texas kick off. An iconic symbol of the fair getting closer went up today. This morning, Big Tex was raised at Fair Park in Dallas, standing 55 feet tall for the State Fair of Texas. He wears a 95-gallon hat and size 96 boots with a 33-foot belt around his size 434 waist, known as the $500,000 Man. He costs $500,000 and has been at Fair Park since 1952. The State Fair opens next Friday, September 27th, and runs through October 20th. The South Texas man at the center of a Center AD attack, U.S. Republican Vincent T. Gonzalez has spread conspiracy theories on social media about 9/11 and the COVID pandemic. To read this full Texas Tribune article, visit our website at crossroadstoday.com. Kentucky State Police says a county sheriff has been arrested in connection with the fatal shooting of a district judge. A KSP spokesperson says it happened at a southeastern Kentucky courthouse during business hours.
This community is small in nature, and we're all shook.
State police say a sheriff is charged with fatally shooting a judge at Letcher County Courthouse in Kentucky yesterday afternoon. The victim is identified as 54-year-old District Judge Kevin Mullins. Police say he had multiple gunshot wounds and was pronounced dead at the scene. Letcher County Sheriff Sean M. Steins is charged with first-degree murder.
We know that it was an argument between the two that led up, but what exactly transpired prior to the shots being fired, still things that we're trying to get answers to.
Police say they believe the shooting happened inside the judge's chambers just before 3 o'clock, adding people were in the building then, but no one else is hurt. This social media post from Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear laments the shooting. Kentucky State Police detectives are handling the investigation, according to a spokesperson.
Obviously, it's a small town, and anything that happens out of the ordinary is going to cause for alarm. So, as right now, we just want to reassure people there's no threat to the public.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
A new Federal Trade Commission reports revealed major social media and video streaming service conduct extensive surveillance of users to monetize personal information. The report analyzed how 9 companies, including Meta, YouTube, and TikTok, collect and use the data. The FTC says that while these companies profit from harvesting personal data, it jeopardizes privacy and exposes users to identify theft and stalking. It also noted that several firms fail to protect children and teens adequately. The FTC urged Congress to pass federal privacy legislation to address these issues. This brings us to your viewer poll for today. Are you concerned about the potential risk of data collections, such as identity theft? Very concerned, somewhat concerned, and not as well concerned. We want to hear from you. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to participate. We'll have the latest results on 25 News Now at 6. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. Stay with us straight ahead on 25 News Now at 5. The House passes a bill enhancing Secret Service protection for presidential candidates. Also ahead, the FBI investigates suspicious packages sent to election officials nationwide.
Here's a look at what you can expect on Community Crossroads this week. We hear from the Quilt Guild of Victoria, the Victoria County Sheriff, Tejas Fest, and St. Joseph High School.
Here's a look at what you can expect on Community Crossroads. The House has passed a bill bolstering Secret Service protection for major presidential and vice presidential candidates. The Friday vote was 405-0. This move comes after two apparent assassination attempts targeting GOP presidential nominee Donald Trump. Now that the bill has passed, the House needs to be passed by the Senate before it can be signed into law. The FBI is investigating after suspicious packages were sent to election officials in over 20 states this week. Some packages reached officials while others were intercepted. At least some claim to be from a group called the United States Traitor Elimination Army. The FBI is working to determine how many were sent, who mailed them, and their motives. Early reports suggest some packages didn't contain harmful substance. The threats come as election officials were prepared to send the first ballot to overseas and military voters, with early voting set to begin in a few weeks. There are 45 days until the general election, but Virginia, Minnesota, and South Dakota kicked off early in-person voting today. In Manhasset, Virginia, voters line up early at one of three polling places, with 13 more opening on October 17th. Early voting runs through November 2. November 2 voters who requires mail-in ballots will start receiving them today, which can be returned by mail or dropped off by 7 p.m. on Election Day, November 5th. They can keep infants and children safe in vehicles, but car seats and booster seats have to be the right size for children and must be installed correctly in order to provide protection in the crash. During a Child Passenger Safety Week, experts say it is a good time to make sure your child is in the right seat. Today's Health Minute has 5 tips to keep your kids safe in a vehicle.
It's a leading cause of death for children. The latest data from 2022 shows on average 3 children under 13 were killed every day and 429 injured in vehicles. 39% of those killed were unrestrained.
We do know that a properly installed car seat or booster seat can really reduce the risk of injury and save lives.
Dr. Manisha Agarwal with Children's Healthcare of Atlanta says the first step to keep kids safe is making sure your car seat or booster seat is firmly installed. The base shouldn't move more than an inch in any direction. Next, make sure any straps or harnesses fit snug against the child. Agarwal says there shouldn't be much slack.
So that means if you try to pinch the strap or the webbing, you really can't do it at all.
Third, max out your child's seat before graduating them to the next level. Keep them in their current seat as long as possible until they outgrow the limits for height and weight. Fourth, front seats are not made for children. Agarwal says things made for adult safety like airbags can be dangerous for kids.
In fact, all children should stay in the back seat until they turn 13, no matter how big they are.
Finally, when it comes to kids and car safety, don't cave to pressure.
You are taking your kid to school, they see their friends maybe getting out of the front seat or not in a booster seat, but it's your job as a parent to keep your child as safe as possible for as long as possible.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The Israel Defense Force reported a target strike in Beirut, Lebanon today. Details on the target and casualties remain unclear. The IDF stated there are no changes to Israel's current security guidelines, but will update if necessary. The strike targeted Abraham Akel, a senior Hezbollah official. Akel is accused of involvement in the 1983 Beirut bombing that killed 241 U.S. personnel. The U.S. has offered a $70 billion bounty for his capture. The Doomsday Glacier continues to shrink. That's the official name of the Waite Glacier in the Antarctica, and new research says it's melting at a faster than usual rate. A group of scientists who call themselves the International Waite Glacier Collaboration released a report Thursday. They say the glacier outlook is grim, adding that it may potentially collapse within the next 2 centuries. They added if that happens, there could be a major rise in sea levels, which could threaten areas like Miami, London, and the Pacific Island.
Yes, so we are all concerned about Antarctica. It's a big piece of ice at the south end of the world, and you're thinking, well, what do we care? Well, we do care because the ice is melting and that glacier may break away and then melt completely, which then in turn the sea levels would rise around the world. So it's actually a big deal that we need to be concerned about. All right, it's looking pretty good out there for football Friday night in the Crossroads. Looking at 95 degrees. Won't need any hot coffee or chocolate in the stands tonight. We're looking at 97, our high today. That compares to 90 where we're supposed to be this time of year. We'll take a look at the evening forecast for football, the weekend, and the tropics. All that in a moment. Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's a Friday night in the Crossroads, and the big game for CFL tonight is Ganado Indians versus the Tidehaven Tigers. What does it look like? Well, it's at Tosca Stadium. Mostly sunny, southeast wind at 10, 88 degrees at kickoff, so yeah, it's on the warm side for tonight. Here are your headlines for the weather. First of all, we've got a hot and humid weekend. We do have a slight chance of those little afternoon showers that you saw today, but we got to keep our eyes on the tropics because a big, well, okay, not a big, but a cold front is coming in to do battle with that, and we're going to see who's going to win out. As I mentioned, here we are right about now. You can see the few little sprinkles that are occurring, but as we looked at the radar and looked at Tidehaven, no problems out there for tonight. All of that activity, of course, triggered by the afternoon heating of the moisture that we have around here, and most of Texas is fairly quiet and quite warm. Okay, we were 97, okay? Much of interior portions of the state are near 100, so it's still on the hot side. But in the Rockies, things are changing. We've got a big pile of cold air that's rolling in. Let's see, in the Wasatch Mountains of Utah, they get down to 24 degrees, and I believe that in Pikes Peak, Colorado, they're looking for about a foot of snow. So this is a good sign that things are going to change. You can see how we're hot, it's hot, it's hot, it's hot, and then other side of Amarillo, it starts to cool down. So yeah, the Rockies at least are cooling down. You may say, why are you excited? It's the Rockies, it's not here. I know, but that's the beginning of a trend for us to get some of that cooler air. Looks like a warm weekend with the rather humid conditions. Afternoon hours, this is what the heat index will look like. So as you can see, we'll be up to about 103. So if you're going to be working outdoors in the yard, because some of you have to mow the lawn, I know, I understand. I have to do that too. You'll be looking at rather hot conditions. So do it earlier or later in the day and you'll be all right. Let's take a look at what else is going on in the world. Well, for us, these temperatures just running way above normal, but there is, of course, a lot happening in the tropics. Now, as of today, Hurricane Center has put a 50% chance on this blob of developing into a tropical storm. It's not organized yet, but we're looking for this to develop low pressure right over Cancun, and then it moves northbound. I say, this is not the Hurricane Center, my forecast is that it will travel into the eastern side of the Gulf. Now, here's that cool air I told you about. Notice how it rolls to the east. It rolls to the east through the weekend. Then we start seeing the tropical activity start moving up. And by the time we get to 7 days from now, next Friday and Saturday, the frontal system will push down, drop our temperatures, maybe 10 degrees, so it's not huge, but it's enough to battle with the storm. And that's why I think Louisiana to Florida is the area that needs to be most concerned with that activity. You always have to be looking out at the tropics because things could change, but I'm fairly comfortable on that 7-day outlook. We are looking at tomorrow in Port Lavaca, again up to about 90 degrees, partly cloudy, beautiful clouds like today. Also in Cuero getting up to 94. For the weekend, couldn't ask for nicer stuff. Just remember that on Sunday morning, well, hey, you don't have to worry about it. Sunday morning is the beginning of fall, but it doesn't mean anything because we'll still be in the 90s for early next week. That's your 7-day forecast. Reminding everybody, we do have a QR code. Love for you to scan that, put Crossroads Today on your phone. Here's Amaya, back to you.
Thank you, Mac. Coming up next on 25 News Now at 5, we'll take one last look at your stocks plus. Gas prices continue to drop, offers relief for drivers. Now taking a look at your stocks, the Dow is up 38 points, the S&P 500 is down 11 points, and the Nasdaq is down 66 points. Oil is down 18 cents, closing at $71.77 per barrel. Good news. Good news for drivers, gas prices could continue to drop. AAA says the national average for a gallon of gas dipped 2 cents last week to $3.22. While still a decline, is much slower than in recent weeks. Hurricane Francis caused temporary issues for oil, super productions, and refining on the Gulf of Coast. AAA says it isn't uncommon for a slump during hurricane season, but the organization expects prices at the pump to continue to drop. General Motors is recalling nearly $450,000 vehicles because they may not display a warning when the brake fluid is low. Last week, the U.S. National Highway Traffic Safety Administration issued a recall for certain 2020 through 2023 Chevy and GMC trucks and 2020 through 2024 SUVs. The issue is that a warning light for low brake fluid may not activate, risking reduced brakes performance and increasing a crash risk. Owners will receive notifications letters by the end of October, and the software update will be free. For more information, contact your dealership. Stay with us. We'll take one last look at your forecast. Plus, Atlanta Zoo giant pandas are returning to China after 25 years. And now, here's a look at what is coming up on the world news tonight, right after 25 News Now at 5.
Coming up tonight, breaking news in the race for president. Also, the judge shot and killed in court. Authorities now say it was the sheriff. What we know. The deadly storms on the move tonight, several states in the path, and the drone used to find a little girl in the woods. And you'll see the dramatic video. We're next.
After 25 years, Zoo Atlanta is losing 4 of its most popular furry friends. The zoo for giant pandas will be returning home to China next month. Loon Loon, Yang Yang, Yan Loon, and Shi Loon were a pairness in the U.S. prior to the San Diego Zoo getting a pair of pandas in June. The bears at the Atlanta Zoo were the only ones in the nation. Animal experts say pandas are no longer in danger, but their population is still slow. The Atlanta Zoo is throwing a goodbye party there, calling the Panda Plaza on October 5th. Wow.
Yeah, that's really amazing. I mean, A, they're so cute.
They are.
They're so rare, and you know now why they're being able to move them? Because of the nurturing program, we have more. You know, as
Really?
opposed to disappearing in the woods. So protecting them has helped the population. So.
Oh my gosh, I love pandas.
Oh,
These are just so silly.
I mean,
They're silly
who,
like me.
who decided to go in and bring them two little black eyes? I mean, it's just amazing.
So
Beautiful.
cute.
Anyway, we of course are looking at a rather warm weekend. I know you got stuff to do outside, and it's great. No problems in the evening or in the morning. Middle of the afternoon, be a little on the warm side. 95 the high with the heat index at about 103, 104. Fall begins on Sunday morning, don't forget. And we are looking for a great night for football. And CFL has got crews all over the crossroads getting videotape of tonight's games.
Yes, well, thank you so much, Mac, and thank you for being with us. We hope to see you back here tonight for 25 News Now at 6.